Hey everybody, this is DM Mike, and this is the next radio drama for Hoard of the Dragon Queen. I think it's radio drama number 16. I might be wrong on this, but I think it's radio drama number 16. And we're nearing the end. We're nearing the end of both the campaign and also the radio dramas for now. But anyway, this one is about 12 minutes long. Somewhere between 10, 11 and 12 minutes, right? So it's a doozy. I remember when I first started these, they were 2 minutes. And now here I am at 12. And I think it's natural. I really do. I think it's just a natural curve of how the story's gone, about the stakes that are involved, the encounters, the sessions, the enemies, the monsters, and everything is kind of escalated. And I think that's reflected also in character decisions and, of course, this 12-minute radio drama. But anyway, I don't want to. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's go ahead and get into this. I'll set you up real quick. If you've been watching these since the beginning, then you probably have some idea what's happening with me and my campaign and my players. But there's three major scenes. The first scene takes place in Chapter 6 in Castle Natier after the characters have teleported out. And Borngray and Asbaroth, hope I'm saying his name right, Asbaroth are both there to see what happened, what was going on. And we can kind of see as the players what happened after they left. All right, that's scene 1 at Castle Natier. Scene 2 is the flying castle you see in Chapter 8, and it involves Talus, I'm going to say Tanis, that's Dragonlance, but Talus, Rathmodar, Esclerota, and just the overall feeling and ambiance of the castle, right? So you kind of hear it and see it coming in to Parnas, right? So that's scene 2. And then scene 3 is about Trespin and the trolls, and they're wandering around the mountainside, going towards the portal, because the portal recently went off, but nobody showed up. So Talus expected some trouble. They weren't too sure, so they sent the trolls out to investigate. All right, that's it. That's the setup for this. It sets up the beginning of Chapter 8 and a lot of the new NPCs, but also the new enemies and problems the characters will face. So let's go ahead. We'll start this off. It's about 12 minutes, give or take, right? This is, I don't think I gave this a title. Oh yeah, I did. Wizards and Warriors. All right, guys, let's get to it.
Crossing the bridge, Borngray, a small cadre of cultists, and a wizard dressed in red hastily make their way to the portal's edge.
Keep your wits about you.
The great statues lining the cavern appear to watch the host intently, a cosmic gaze etched into ancient stone. The host approaches with caution and readiness as they stop at the edge of the shrine. Borngray glances around with a puzzled look, lifting the remains of a bullywug with disgust.
Damn. Too late, it seems. What the hell happened in here?
The wizard steps onto the stone, glancing around the astral gate, assessing the situation.
It appears someone activated the portal suddenly, without alerting the others. That is why only pieces of these creatures still remain, and not the full carcass.
What? Wait. Now, how is that even possible?
The wizard leans against his staff, glancing around the cavern, his eyes eventually resting on the scarred blackened stone of the dragon shrine, the shrine that held the captured Fae.
The sprite. Yes. It seems she lost control once the portal was powered. It transported all of them. Look, there. Several of the large pillars are missing, seemingly cut clean from the stone. Unlikely. With her energy, they were most likely teleported with the others. How many were stationed here?
10, I believe, plus the shaman. Rezimir wished to confront the adventures the drow had warned us about. He seemed confident he could handle them. Jevin also remained behind, though I don't see his effects anywhere, or Rezimir's for that matter. Perhaps they survived the teleportation.
It is possible. If they were indeed teleported to the portal's original destination.
Is it wise to be standing there?
It is stable now. The portal should operate as normal, now that the Fae is gone.
Then step aside. I wish to teleport at once. Rezimir could need help. Men, draw your swords and be ready for anything. You two, I want you ranged, ready your bows, and keep your distance.
The wizard holds out his hands, stopping the elf abruptly.
Leaving now would be reckless. Rezimir can handle himself. The castle is your main concern now.
There are more than enough bullywugs to handle the remaining factions. What if Rezimir needs help? He could very well be outnumbered or even wounded.
That is why the Dark Elf remained behind. He's worth 10 of you. May I remind you that in the absence of Rezimir, I am in charge.
Our leader could be in trouble. Step aside.
I will not be disobeyed. Remove yourself from the portal, Grey. I won't dare ask again.
I warn you, Asperoth. If this decision in any way brings harm to Rezimir, there will be consequences. What do you command?
You are to stay here, and under no circumstance leave the castle. There is great wealth here that needs to be guarded. It cannot fall into the hands of swamp dwellers. Protecting the treasure, that is your concern. Now, ready my griffin for flight. I wish to leave immediately. I will contact you again with further orders once I reach my destination. Until then, dispose of the wretches and their fruitless uprising, and secure the Hoard for the cult.
Why not take the portal?
Sometimes a man needs time to think before he reaches his destination. Much has happened, and a time of musing is needed before I meet with my master. Continue the fight, and send word as soon as the skirmish is finished. Resuming the transfer of our riches is of the utmost importance.
The wizard leaves through the main doors as Borngray glances back at the portal. As if making a sudden decision, he turns and heads back to the main gates, the cultists following. Elsewhere, a giant enters a wide-open chamber of ice and approaches a glowing diamond, its glass-like exterior swirling with mist, the essence of Arcana manifest behind a shimmering enamel of organic perfection. An aquatic dance of lights shimmers within the jewel, as if the twinkling of stars had been captured within. An ethereal voice rings out from the blue frosted walls of the fortress.
We are approaching landfall. She is attempting to make contact now. The elf appears impatient.
When are they not so? Call it to the stone. Let's see what this wench needs.
Within moments, the countenance of a half-elf woman, dressed in thick winter gear and arms folded with silver-laced gauntlets, locks eyes with the giant in what can only be described as a glare of contempt. She stares from the crystal as the giant leans against the dais.
What is it, Talus? What do you need?
Where the hell have you been? You were expected hours ago. This is unacceptable.
Open your eyes, woman. This isn't like steering a wagon. Perhaps you've fallen asleep at your post. Wipe the slumber from your eyes and look out the window. You draw near as we speak.
Very well. A shipment will be en route within the hour from the main city. The portal has been quiet for some time until moments ago, though no shipments or envoys have arrived, so we expect trouble. We are gathering a force now to investigate. As soon as you land, open the gates. We must move in haste. Is this understood?
Seems pretty clear to me.
Keep alert, and no more delays. I will be with you shortly.
Arrogance! Dragons are not the only ones with a serpent's hide. Wouldn't surprise me if that hussy shed her skin and coiled like a reptile before my very eyes.
We are nearing the hollow. We should settle at any moment. Shall I alert your guard?
Do so. Have them meet me in my chambers. Until then...
Abruptly, another face appears within the jewel, the pale visage of a red wizard, his eyes harboring sinister wisdom and deadly intelligence.
Rigothis, one from my order approaches by Griffin Mount. Asperoth, allow him to land immediately, for he brings news from the swamp. Apparently things have not gone as planned. Have we made landfall?
Momentarily.
Excellent. We are not to be disturbed under any circumstance. Finish the cargo transfers and be ready to take flight. We may need to leave in a hurry. That is all.
The connection ends. The giant merely stares at his reflection in the jewel, his glare concealing a simmering vexation and controlled fury.
These are strange days, Esclarota. When humans cast commands as if they were our masters. As if my stature and strength would not crush them into fine powder. Allow this wizard to land and awaken the guard. I feel as if an eclipse approaches. Perhaps you were right. Maybe this was the wrong deal to make.
The palace descends upon the earth, its icy exterior shimmering with the light of the sun. Great crows and birds of prey flock among its towers as the fortress anchors against a hill of muted green, scattering the wildlife. There is a great shudder that flows from the stone behemoth as the castle settles upon its earthly womb. The giant, standing upon the balcony, looks out once more with a grimace towards the horizon and cold blue mountains surrounding them. He turns, entering the stronghold, his large cloak flowing behind him. Across the plain, a large four-armed troll shuffles his way through the snow-covered pines. Behind him, two other trolls follow, each with their clubs and hammers slung over their shoulders. Small flurries fall in the forest as in the distance, a beautiful expanse of white-capped mountains and blue sky paint a peaceful backdrop.
We're close to the portal. If there's anyone, we should get eyes on them soon.
Why is it we have to go take a look? I'd rather be sitting my ass next to a fire than trudging through this snow again.
If she sent us, then she expects trouble. Otherwise, a bloody scout could do this far more quieter too. The missus has her reasons, and we don't question it either. I follow her, you follow me. That's the order of things. If you don't like it, I can smash your head in and send you on your way to Nishrek. Now, quiet. It's just up that hill. And spread out. We may have to catch or smash whatever's up top.
The trolls trudge up the snowbank and, one by one, appear above the hilltop where the ancient portal stands silent. They stop to examine it, their breath creating small wispy clouds as they exhale. The portal appears empty as a squirrel skitters past. The four-armed troll keeps his eyes on the stone while the other two scratch their heads and peer into the forest.
Huh. What a damn thing. Maybe the old elf was wrong. Been in that cabin far too long, it seems. She's grown all suspicious. Empty as a tomb. Certainly no dragon cultists came through. They wouldn't be playing cat and mouse, that's for sure. What have I told you? You have to look at the surface of the stone. The portal did go off. Not a damn drop of ice or snow is on the top. And the bloody rock, it's still hot to the touch. Something did come through, about an hour ago maybe, since the last snowfall. Well, I ain't seen no tracks, wagon or otherwise. Perhaps it went off by mistake. Wasn't the portal having problems earlier? Well, what do you know?
The troll leans down and examines the terrain closely.
Human tracks around my halfling, dug deep into the bank. Looks like whatever came through was carrying something heavy. Small blood trail as well on the right side of the footprints. Smells like elf. That's strange. Maybe another damn cultist ran off with more treasure. I'm sure Talus won't mind if we smash his bones a bit. Nothing makes the blood run hotter than caving someone's skull in. Talus certainly couldn't say no to that. We'll spread out and check the mountainside. Whatever it is, it has a head start on us. But since it's bleeding, it may not get far. Report back to Talus when the sun touches the mountain. And take it alive. Talus may want to have words with it. Check for blood and broken branches close to the trees. Now, move.
The trolls separate and begin their search through the snow-covered aspen trees, startling the wildlife as they stalk the plains. The four-armed troll's eyes wince as his hunter's instincts kick in, his gaze examining every nook and cranny, moving like a panther as the forest becomes still and silent. He knew it would only be a matter of time until his prey was caught, and then the fun would begin.
Okay, there you have it. It's around 12 minutes or so, give or take a couple seconds there. But this was big. This was this is the longest I've ever gone. Matter of fact, it actually was 23 minutes.
Oh my God!
I chopped the radio drama in half and took that first half, which really was the inspiration for the entire thing. The first half, I'm going to save it. I'm just going to save it for a later time, because it was too much to ask. I think of my players, even though I think they would have sat and listened to it anyway, and probably would have enjoyed it, I think. But, I didn't want to do that. That was a little too long. So it made sense, too, to also break it up. But as you can see here, this is in line with all the other radio dramas as far as dropping hints, dropping foreshadowing. Well, dropping foreshadowing. It's a lot of foreshadowing is already built into these radio dramas. But, it's carefully introducing NPCs and also showing the relationship between all of them. Now, a lot of this stuff comes directly out of the book. The book talks about, some of these alliances, how finicky they are and fickle they can be. And it also talks about how Blagothkus is, he's caught in the middle and now he's not too sure about things. So I kind of just drop a lot of hints in there for my players, whoever's playing, to listen to those kinds of things and pick up on those audio cues of things that are happening in that world, right? And of course it sets up like the trolls and everything else that is supposed to be there for more chapter 7, but if you've been following my campaign diaries, I've nixed chapter 7. I only took like 2% of it, which was basically some of those NPCs, the mountainside, and that was about it. And I'll get into more specifics later in the campaign diary and what I've decided to nix when I try to do some chapter tips. But anyway, you can see there, it's all kind of consistent. It's all coming back around. Blagothkus, the Flying Castle, was introduced probably about 4 months ago. And I think Radio Drama number 10, could be wrong. I'll put something up if I need to. But, you could see a little blip of that. Rathmodar made his first appearance all the way back of June 2018 in the very first radio drama. More official, not the opener radio drama, but one that occurred in the middle of chapter 1, where Linathan is flying all over the place and Wrath is trying to get some control over the situation, the storms and the problems that are going on in the sanctuary, which ended up being my heroes going to the sanctuary causing problems, right? So Rathmodar, all those guys, all the way back of June of last year, were introduced. And here we are, what is this? We're March, almost close to April 2019, and we're seeing all these characters now are about to come face to face with them. So this is what I love this kind of stuff. I've always seen Dungeons & Dragons as episodic adventures. I've always seen them as television shows. I've quoted this many times, not quoted this, but I've talked about this many times. Record of Lotus War. That's how I've always envisioned D&D, and that's just how I write for it, as you can see with the radio dramas, showing bits and pieces that are going on behind the scenes and how that affects the world the characters are in. So I don't want to spend any more time on this, guys. It's already been long enough. But as you can see, we're moving along. We have, I'm going to hopefully have one or two more radio dramas to come as we get closer and closer to closing this out. I've already written the ending of this, not meaning I'm going to strong arm, my characters or players into a scenario. I've kind of, it's ambient stuff that's going on in the world. I've kind of got an idea. I just quickly wrote it down. So that's going to be in the works, but maybe at least 1 to 2 radio dramas to come. I've got 2 or 3 more map videos to come. And of course, another campaign diary, because we are now in that final chapter. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.